Long take. I love to watch movies, but in a different way. Every time I watch movies, I found something new in it. The thing that inspired me to think how they do this, how they create a visuals like this, how they create such a sequence like this. Especially when you see a uninterrupted sequence, your mind feels so connected, so deep in the movie. It happened same with you. I think yes. That's why today we will discuss about the strategies and the development behind the long take in movies. What is a long take? A long take is when a filmmaker captures a scene in order for it to appear in the edit as an one continuous take. When a shot continues for a long period of time, you are obliged to pay attention. To understand more about this technique in filmmaking, I choose 3 famous long takes from different movies, which is part of my research. But before discuss long takes, let's understand how a long take create. How to determine the value of a long take? I found 3 specific categories that will be better your scenes. Setting, character, and plot. Let's start with the setting. A unique location that should fill all the rich details so that the viewer should feel they are right there in that place at that time. Let's take a scene from Gravity. If we see this sequence, we can actually feel that we are in the space, flying with the astronauts. Because of the setting, it creates like we are in a space. We haven't been there before, and we didn't know how the Earth looked like. While watching this, we feel that we are there at that time. The next one is character. The scene should make the viewer feel like the subject. Let's take an example from the movie Goodfella, the Copacabana scene. This is how a long take transports viewer into the character's state of mind. In this scene, we find ourselves in Henry's date, Karen Friedman. Henry has already seen this back door, the kitchen, the restaurant 100 times. But you know who hasn't? Karen. And us, the viewer. Putting a group of mob film buffs on Karen's Friedman's heel is a stroke of brilliance in this long take. The next one is the plot. How event affects the overall story, where each action truly informs the next, and a few blinks, you might miss something important. This can show how simple events have enormous impact on the plot. The best example is the scene from Touch of Evil. The scene opens with the bomb timer set to 3 minutes, and the viewer know where the bomb is placed and when it will be explode. Halfway to the scene, the attention switches to Mike and Susan as they walk down the street. But we do not feel like the characters in this scene because we know more than they do, and there is a great payoff. And that is why they are celebrated moments in films. One-shot films like are a stunning accomplishment or coordination and timing. When it's done right, they make a movie feel like it's unfolding in real time. But actually, there is no one take nowadays. The filmmaker designed the shot with transition and cuts, but they are stitched together to look continuous. A lot of that editing wizardry happens thanks to some extensive CGI, but it also relies on some tricks and transitions. Alfred Hitchcock's movie Rope introduced a new method of filmmaking in which all cut, dissolve, fade outs, and other breaks in filming continuity have been eliminated. The shooting plan is clear from the very first page of the script. The action of the story is continuous. Rope is based on a play, so no visible edits would make the movie feel like it was playing out in a real time, just like the play does. But that time, the camera holds only 10-minute recording film of 1000 feet and 35 mm, which meant the filmmaker couldn't just let the camera run. They had to find a way to hide cuts when they changed film rolls. So Alfred find a solution with the hidden cut. Hidden cut is the startup of the development in continuous shot, with the techniques and the transitions. But now we are able to record like ours by easy handy cameras. So there are some directors who actually take a long take without any cut. And I was just thinking that how they manage the timing, extras, and the setup of the shoot. Let's have a look at the beach sequence from the movie Entombment. This beach sequence is almost 4.5 minute scene with 1000 extras in Duncan Beach. Is possibly one of the most complex tracking shot ever staged. But the shot only became a long take because the production couldn't afford the obligatory 1000 extras for long enough to shot the scene conventionally. In order to cover the quarter mile that the shot required, the Steadicam operator went from the back of a golf cart to on a foot onto a rickshaw via a ramp disguised as a bomb crate, and finally back on a foot to finish it off all to create incredibly staged living painting scene. Let's take another sequence from movie Hard Boiled. This is a shootout sequence in a hospital. John Woo is the indisputable king of action movies. There is no need to look any further than this sequence. Hard-boiled follow plays by his own rules cop, Tequila, as he attempts to take down a crime syndicate, ultimately find himself here in a hospital rescuing newborns and innocents from the mob. This 2-minute 40-second long take shootout perfectly captured the scene of follow between these two cops as they clear the corridors. The gunfight is almost a ballet. Although it looks like they go up an elevator to a second floor, but they actually came back out on the same set, leaving the crew exactly 30 seconds to clear the redress the entire floor and the actions begin again. Especially director John Woo appreciated to manage all the timings of gunshot and action in this continuity. These two shots are actually timed uncut one-take shots, with the effort of all the crew and extras, perfectly timed and designed with the practice of weeks. Now let's move on to the other example, which is totally different from these two. This is the biggest opening sequence ever from James Bond movies. And in this one take, they used all the techniques and transition to look this shot continuous. This is the opening sequence from the movie Spectre. Now we have to take a look in the developments of taking a long take. Sometimes it's hard to create an uncut sequence because if one thing goes wrong, if one person messes up, if one detail is replaced, it could potentially take hours, in some cases days, to reset and attempt the scene again. On top of that, it takes weeks of rehearsal to get everything just right. Truly said, it's one of the difficult and stressful things to pull off on the set. Here are some examples of techniques. First is the foreground frontal. Second is the whip cut. Third is the consistency cut. And the fourth is the CGI. We're gonna explain all these examples in our next scene. Director Sam Mendes designed first 5 minutes of the movie in one continuous shot.
I'm very excited about. I mean, with one shot, you're always having a debate with yourself, a slight dialogue with yourself, whether this is an act of vanity, you know. You're just doing it so people say, wow, it's one shot. But actually, I think for the atmosphere of the place, I wanted the audience to be dropped right into the middle of a very, very specific, very heady, rich environment. There's people thronging the streets, there's smells and sights and sounds and colour.
With musicians, dancers, and thousands of extra, the shot was designed. It started with the walk into the road. And then the hotel. Then into the room. And finished with walking on the rooftop. And during all this, every single person on the set was in action. So the people was actually feel they are in the festival of Mexico City.
Today, we're doing one-shot deals, which is really nice. You take a good 4 or 5 hours setting it up, rehearsing, getting it just right, and then you get the actors involved, and then you have the afternoon to kind of perfect the take. It's quite a challenge, but a fun challenge.
And 3, 2, 1, action!
We've just had Bond going through the crowd. He's now come up onto the roof, left his lovely young...
For me, it's such a complicated sequence. After the script design, this one take, the team takes 6 months to implement that sequence. They turn the location into festival day, and 6 to 8 camera crew was used to film this. And one more thing, you can't believe. Even it's hard for me to believe as well. This shot is taken in 3 different locations, but it's still filmed as a one take. Bond enters in a hotel with a girl, but actually, the hotel is in a different location in the city. And the hotel room is a studio set, and the rest of the sequence is on the rooftop where the festival is held. This was another big challenge for them to arrange that in one take. Okay, let's see this shot from the beginning and understand which cuts and tricks has been used to film this sequence in one take. The shot begins and the camera revealing Mexico City. The festival day. The dead are alive. Famous festival of Mexico City. This time the camera is placed in a Jimmy Jeep. The director tried to connect us via setting of the festival. Then the camera follows the character with white suit. When he passed, the camera connects us with a couple. They're walking on the Mexico streets and then they enter in a building. Before the camera enter in the building, with these characters, we notice all actors are no longer in the screen, and the camera link us to the poster on the wall for few seconds. And when they enter, the side wall's colors is changed, brown to gray. If you noticed, there is the consistency cut, where they shoot with the high frame rates and connects the friction of frames in one shot. Now the camera is on Steadicam. Before it was on Jimmy Jeep. And now the cameraman follows the character from stairs to lift. And when they just about to enter in a room, a person passed. And this is the foreground frontal. We didn't notice, but the location is changed how perfectly designed cuts. Next, when the camera enter in the room, the Bond face reveals. And the camera panning with the girl only. And when the camera whipped, the Bond clothes are changed. Here it comes with the whip cut. And when he passed from the window with the help of foreground frontal, Bond back to the festival on our rooftop. And some CGI and VFX cover the right side of the frame to the festival day. Bond followed by the Jimmy Jib again, and its beautiful 4-minute stakes end with the target. Seriously appreciated job. Director Sam Mendes teaches every new student like me. If you think about it, you can do that. Especially in filmmaking, the technology is going exceeding the limitations. Long takes are one of the most exciting skills in the filmmaker's toolbox. However, unless you collaborate and plan out your shots in great details, they can be logistical nightmares. Dissect your script. Make a flawless storyboard. You will need a well-defined storyboard. And then, the viewer can see your effort on the screen in a perfect one take.